Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles IMC. Hope you're doing well. First half of the Major League Baseball season is out of the way. The second half is getting underway. And today we're going to take a look at some players who have diverged from their underlying metrics to see if they're due to regress positively or negatively. So got 7 players here, and these are some of the bigger differentials, some of the bigger names with the biggest differentials in their sabermetric numbers versus what they're actually doing on the field. And we'll see if they can't put it together in the second half here. And we'll start off with some players that have underperformed their metrics. And when we're looking at underperformance, it doesn't mean that their performance is due to change imminently or anything like that. Typically if a player is hot during a season, they can stay hot, or if they're having a little bit of a under the radar season, it can stay that way. It certainly doesn't mean that they change it. In the next season is kind of where you see that convergence happen. And so these are players to keep an eye on. May happen in the second half, maybe next year, but there's definitely something going on where there could be some regression to the mean here. And we'll start off with Bobby Witt Jr., whose weighted on-base average is 318. Weighted on-base average is a metric that Tom Tango came up with. That doesn't just measure on base percentage, but what's the quality of getting on base. If you have a bloop single versus a liner off the wall, you could have the same on base average. A weighted on base average is going to take into account the quality of that hit, and so his expected weighted on base average is significantly higher than that 318. It's 364. His batting average 257. His expected batting average is 290. Slugging percentage 442. An expected slugging of 515. And so where these things are starting to diverge is, again, the quality of the hits. His hard hit rate is 44%. 40% of the balls that he hits are classified as hard hit versus 38% last year, and his line drives are up to 20% versus 17.4% last year. His BABIP and his average are similar to what he had going on last year. So we're looking at the quality of the hits, and they've improved. So we could see, again, could happen this year, maybe next year, some improvement as those hard hit balls start to find more grass, and we could see a lift in the average, weighted on base average, slugging percentage, etc. So this is a young player. He's kind of figuring things out. He's starting to make more contact with authority, and I believe that in the near future, again, it could be next couple months or over the next year, that we will see some benefits to that improvement. All right, Vlad Guerrero Jr. weighted on base average 342, expected weighted on base average 395, expected batting average 306, expected slugging 545. All right, what's going on here? Kind of the same thing. The quality of the at bat, or the quality of the hits during the at bats. He's a terrific plate presence guy. He doesn't strike out a ton. He walks a decent amount. This year he has a career high hard hit percentage of 56.3. His launch angle he's increased. This is one of the things that's been a challenge for Vlad over the past few years. When he had his MVP level season a few years ago, he was able to lift the ball more and put it out of the park. He was also playing in a smaller park. It was easier to do that. And so if you're hitting line drives, they can't go through the wall for a home run. They have to go over the wall. And so he's increased his launch angle a little bit, and he's increased his line drive rate. These are career highs. Launch angle second best in his career. Again, to that MVP type level season where half of it was in Buffalo. So anyways, what's going on here is the home run fly ball rate is the lowest since his rookie year. And so, again, not getting a lot of lift on the ball, but he is hitting it very, very hard. And so the expected stats are saying, well, gosh, he should be having more success than he is right now. The highest contact and outside contact and outside swing ratio. So he's swinging at a little bit more stuff. And that's because he's seeing the highest percentage of sliders and sinkers that he has in his career. And so those are a couple of things that may be holding him back. But when he hits the ball, he's hitting it as well as he has ever have. And so those underlying metrics are getting excited. There may be a little bit of caution there because he's seeing some more balls with shape, and he's not having as much success against those. But when he does put the barrel on the ball, it goes hard. And so he's a terrific player, but perhaps there's some room for improvement. But maybe don't get super excited. We're not looking for a return to that MVP season or anything like that. But there could be a decent second half in store for him. And Ryan Mountcastle wrap it up the players that are underperforming their metrics, and he seems to find his way onto this list quite often because he hits the ball really hard, and so he doesn't walk a ton here. So expected weighted on base average 353, expecting batting average a significant jump from his current 330 up to 267, and expected slugging of 531, career low BABIP of 260. And so the metrics say, well, you're getting unlucky and you do hit the ball relatively hard. We should expect some improvement, but he kind of can't get out of his own way. He walks only 4.6% of the time. You can see his outside swing percentage, or balls outside the zone, 44%. So he's swinging outside at a decent amount. But when he hits the ball, 45% hard hit rate and a 15% barrel rate, which are really, really good numbers. And so he needs to find the ball that he can handle, put the bat on it, and work on those pitches instead of swinging outside the zone, a little swing happy. If he can put those things together, then we could start to see that improvement that the underlying metrics suggest. All right, some players that may regress. All right, Luis Arraez. I'd love to see him hit 400. I think that would be terrific. The numbers and just reality would say, maybe not. But again, when a player is seeing the ball really well during the season, he tends to go for the season. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to correct. So I'm rooting for him here. Weighted on-base average, 391. Expected weighted on-base average, downward 357. Still really good season. That's Vlad level stuff here. Batting average of 383, expecting batting average of 331, slugging 471, expected slugging of 436. Not a big slugger here. So he's got nearly a 400 batting average on balls in play. He's finding a lot of grass. And if you've watched him hit, he's such a skilled hitter. He's just putting it over the infield, into the outfield. He finds his spot. If there's a spot he wants to hit it to, he can pretty much do that. Doesn't strike at all. 5% K rate. Swings at balls outside the zone at a little higher clip than you would want for an elite level hitter. If you look at the Juan Soto types, they're in 20-25% or something like that. And he's swinging at 35% on his own. Thing is, he hits them. He's got very, very fast hands. And this is the first time over 30%. They're just coming outside the zone. And again, he's putting contact on the ball here. So I'm not going to bet against him. Sure, there could be some regression here. But the way he's playing right now, if they're throwing high and away, he's handling that. He's shooting it the other way. If they throw it inside, he's able to shoot that the other way. And he's just a tremendous talent at the plate. That these metrics, you may have to just kind of throw them aside and say, you know what, you just keep doing what you're doing because you know what you're doing. All right, Corbin Carroll. Off to a terrific start here, my preseason NL Rookie of the Year favorite. Weighted on-base average 389. Expected weighted on-base average 346. Expecting batting average 261. Down almost 30 points from his current level here. And expected slugging of 448. And really, we don't have history for Corbin Carroll here. This is his first time with full-time at-bats for the most part, so maybe this is what he is. Now, when you have a player with his speed, you can outperform your metrics. You can have a higher batting average on balls in play, and I think that's what the underlying metrics are looking for right here. That, oh geez, maybe you're getting a little lucky. The speedier guys can handle that. They can turn things that would normally be outs into hits. So I think he's having some success. There may be with doing that. Now there may be some regression in the second half, but still going to be a terrific season overall. Some of the things that I noticed is his strikeout rate is sub 20%. That's the first time really throughout his career, minor leagues included, and so this is the first time. And so the first time that he's ever done that. I find that a good sign. He's really seeing the ball at the plate, and when he puts it into play, he can make things happen that other players can't. So, as far as major regression, coming back to these numbers, I don't know. I don't know about that. I would use it as an opportunity to pick up some of his stuff if he did start to slump and fall off. But for the most part, time will tell what he's capable of doing, and then we can kind of get a measurement against that. So again, underlying statistics are looking for some regression. Not so sure it's going to happen because we don't have much of a track record there. He's hitting the ball well. All right, Jaren Duran, expected weighted on-base average nearly 50 points below his current weighted on-base average. Batting average 320, expected batting average 272, slugging and expected slugging, again, nearly 100-point differential here. So he's got a 429 batting average on balls in play, and for someone who strikes out 26% of the time, to keep a 320 average is going to be difficult unless they're a really, really speedy guy, which I don't believe he is. When he hits the ball, he's hitting it plenty hard, 45% hard hit rate, which is a career high here. So he's got a low barrel rate, a low launch angle, and a 10% home run to fly ball rate. And so, again, the expected weighted on-base average is going to look at the quality of the on-base. And when you're not putting a lot of thump behind the ball. I think he's got 5 home runs on the season. Then that number should come down a little bit. So again, with that high strikeout rate and the 429 BABIP, I feel like he's getting lucky. We probably will see regression across the board in a lot of those areas relative to their expected stats. And one of the bigger names to set themselves up for some regression is Cody Bellinger. Has had a really nice resurgent season with the Cubs. So expected weighted on base average about 50 points lower than his current weighted on base average, 309. Batting average nearly 300. Expected batting average around 250. When he was going at his best, what was he, about a 280-ish hitter, give or take a few points here and there. Slugging 491, expected slugging 392, so 100 points off of that. He's got a 327 batting average on balls in play, which is the highest of his career. Striking out 17% of the time, which is really his best since his MVP level seasons. 5% barrel rate, 20% hard hit rate. That's the lowest of his career. So the quality contact isn't quite there, and that's where you could see that expected weighted on base average come down a little bit. The batting average, again, if that regresses, then we could see that the average second half of the year, or at some point, come closer to that expecting batting average. And the barrel rate and the hard hit rate, again, it's going to drag down the expected slugging. So I'd like to see him keep it going here. But again, the projections, the numbers, the under the hood numbers say look for a little bit of regression on Mr. Bellinger. So someone's trying to sell high on him. Don't buy it. So I'm pulling for him, but cautiously, I'm cautious here. So the last few years, haven't been great for him, as we all know. There's a little bit of return to form for him. I hope he can keep it going, but the more recent history may take some precedence, and I'm going to lean towards that. So that's what I got for you. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of the day. Bye now.